Welcome to Film Conscious. We're back. My name is Erin.
My name is Maddie.
If it's your first time here, hello. On this podcast, we discuss films and their various meanings and give our general take on them. We'll chat about our favorite actors, scenes, songs, and many other important film stuff.
Please like and subscribe. This week, we're going to be chatting about the film Lilies Not For Me. Warnings: this film is not age-rated but contains mild gore and violence. There's some intense scenes.
There's going to be some resources at the end of the video, also in the description. Check them out if you need them.
Film summary. Lilies Not For Me is a 2024 film directed by Will Seafried, set in England during the 1920s. The film follows a gay novelist named Owen and his psychiatric nurse, Dorothy, through a blossoming friendship as they discuss Owen's novel in progress. Whilst at their scheduled tea time sessions, Owen unravels the story of his past, the relationship between him and an old friend, which turned to an unproven medical procedure utilized to cure themselves of their condition and become heterosexual.
The film's meaning. Lily's Not For Me is a disturbing yet beautifully crafted story based around true queer history and extreme conversion therapies. The film communicates overreaching themes of psychological trauma rooted in this cure, as well as sexual identity and how this interacts with societal pressure. From both Owen and Dorothy, we are also able to recognize the theme of resistance. Owen actively resists the mindset that his queerness is an illness, and Dorothy resists the cruel nature conversion therapies upheld.
So my favorite actor is Fian O'Shea, which is the main character. He plays Owen, and then also Robert Aramaya, who plays Philip. They're both incredible actors. I think they both work in tandem super well. Um, they really convey the struggles of being a queer man. I think Fien's acting in particular tells us that they're distraught about the notion of identity repression, while acting conveys his own selfish desires and inner homophobia. They both do this really, really well, and I think it's communicated in a way where you can see their intentions, like gesturally. You can see it in their eyes while they're doing their daily tasks, especially for Philip, even though he's like the bad guy. I think it comes across very, very well.
Do we know if either of the actors are actually gay in real life?
No, I don't think we've searched that.
Okay, that would be an interesting thought.
I think we can look that up.
My favorite actor, probably Aaron Kellyman, who plays Dot, or Dorothy. She's not in the film very much, but when she actually is in the film, her skills are really impactful, and she's just a brilliant actor. She's been in a few different films. These include Solo, The Green Knight, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm also really biased. Her name's Erin. My name's Erin. You know.
Obviously, you guys are interconnected.
Yeah, yeah.
The person who plays Charlie is also very, very good. I think all of like the main actors in the film did a really good job.
There was a very limited cast. It was pretty small. There's not too much.
It felt very concise.
Hmm.
I think that's like a common theme with a lot of our movies.
Yeah, a lot of them have limited casting, which
Yeah.
I think then you can build a connection with each of the characters a bit more, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Our favorite quotes in the film, I wrote down two because there was two that really stood out to me. About in the middle of the film, Owen says something to Philip. He says, "It's time for you to return to the life you've chosen. Leave me to mine." This is just really, it connects to the entire story, and who Owen is as a person. Um, Owen never feels like he is sick or that he has an illness. People tell him that he does, but he's always true to himself, and that's really, I don't know, that that quote really stuck with me. Um, Also at the end of the film, there's a line that Owen says to Dot, and he says, "I can't find an ending. The truth is too horrible." And Dot says, "Then write a happy ending then." That one was just very pretty.
And it really matched the imagery we get at the end as well.
Yeah.
If you've never seen the film, I mean, I we hope you have, but if you haven't, I think looking up a clip of that one ending scene is very like it's so well done.
Yeah.
It's really, really sad, but I mean, it has a twist to it that is really lovely. My favorite quote in the film is one by Owen as well. I think they're both by Owen. He says, "I cannot be cured because I'm not ill, Philip." And I mean, it's very straightforward in what it's saying, but I think it, like, again, Owen is someone who is very, very true to himself, no matter the societal pressure that's around him. He remains, like, set on that he's a queer man and there's no shame in it. And I think that's just, especially for it being a period piece, it feels very strong. Another quote Owen said is busy hands quiet the mind. I thought that quote was also very good. He says that in the beginning, and I mean, it's just like very short. He says it with a conversation with Philip, but he's always writing, he's always making something. Um, he's working on his novel all the time, and I feel like that kind of helped him get going with everything. I don't know. I liked that. I like that a lot,
Yeah.
especially someone who does art.
Mhm. Favorite moment in the film? I named a few. All of these sections, we name a few. We never can pick one. When Philip and Owen are play fighting anytime in the film, also when they're laying in the field in the beginning, there's something with men just like laying in grass fields and smoking. It's something really beautiful and pure. I think because in society we believe that men like are always working or they're never just like casually laying around with their pals. Um, but yeah, that was really beautiful. The entire end scene, which we'll talk about or already talked about, is just outstanding. It contrasts the entire film. It's much different than how other films or other directors would maybe portray the ending of this film. Um, they made it, instead of something that could have been very gory and eerie, more of something that's beautiful, even though it wasn't beautiful. Um, it was visually beautiful, but also very sad. I also wanted to point out that whenever I hear Owen, I think of I Saw the TV Glow. And yeah, you should check out our podcast on that little film, good film.
My favorite moment in the film is literally any time someone was dancing. I think the dance scenes throughout the whole film, despite them being so like short-timed, were really, really sweet and heartwarming. The grizzly bear dance that Charlie does, I feel like that just shows how it shows it's so sweet. Like, and it just shows the sweetness that Charlie, Owen, and Alice share.
Mm.
They're both very understanding people, very bright people. Um, and it's also just very intimate. Like the moment that Alice and Owen are dancing after like Owen's just told her that her husband is dead. Um, they share a moment where they're doing this dance and they're making Alice's kid happy, and then they hug, and it's just it's really sad, yes, but it's also very intimate. It's this.
Yeah,
Go ahead, sorry.
I think something about that specific scene, they're dancing and they're very happy while doing the grizzly dance, but then suddenly they just kind of embrace and it gets very sad. So the dance moments bring a very like sweet moment into the film, but also then show how unhappy everyone is. How like they're all very in despair.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, like Owen and Dorothy are literally they're dancing and it's very special, but they're also I they're at a medical center. It's not the best place to be in, but they're having their moment of
Mhm.
intimacy, which is really nice. Yeah.
So we have a few things to touch on. I'm going to start by reading the poem that is in the film that Owen repeats, I think, twice. It is a poem called Poppies by Digby Mackworth Dolben. Sorry, probably mispronounced that. Lilies, lilies not for me, flowers of the pure and saintly, I have seen in holy places where the incense rises faintly, and the priest the chalice raises, lilies in the altar vases, not for me. The meaning of the poem?
You wrote that.
Of course I did.
Yes.
Um,
The title's Poppies, and it's talking about lilies, right? So it feels interesting because it's saying that, lilies are pure and holy and saintly, but then, that's to say maybe heterosexuality is pure and holy and saintly.
hmm. We don't know if this poem was originally written in a heterosexual like light.
True.
It I did not do any research on this poem, so I have no clue. I just know who originally wrote it.
Okay.
So it would be interesting if they just took a poem that is random and unrelated,
Could be.
or if it's somehow related and we just don't know it. Why would you name it Poppies but have it be about lilies? What does poppies mean?
It's saying lilies isn't for you. Lilies not for me. So in
So,
that case, you're poppies. You know what I mean?
but how do poppies and lilies relate
They
other
don't.
than being flowers?
They don't. That's like, is that not the point?
So it's like a juxtaposition.
Yeah. I would think so.
Okay. Do you think this has anything to do with death or belief? Because it to me feels more like because saintly, holy,
Well,
chalice, priest, it's like we're in a church.
it could be religious, but then again, I think it's also just like, wow, I am someone who like you could also not be religious writing this. I'm
Mm,
just sinning a lot and I'm doing these things that people wouldn't classify as holy. I don't feel like this pure being. I've definitely done wrong. I'm a flawed human being.
mm,
So it's like I think in that way it doesn't have to be religious. For the time period, it definitely could be.
yeah. I'm curious if the original poem is. I get in the case of the film that it isn't
Yeah.
as much, but that'd be interesting.
I wonder if we could actually find the book that Owen is reading, because I don't doubt that it's
Probably.
coming from a real book.
Yeah.
There's a mirroring between Owen's relationship with Philip versus his relationship with Charlie, and
Mm,
he does a lot of similar things there. In this case, it would be the poem where he reads the poem and there's a reaction. So Philip reacts in a way is like he thinks about it for a second, but immediately he shuts it down and is like, I'm not really about poems, like, why are you telling me this?
mhm,
Which, oh, okay. Um, but he tells this to Charlie, and then Charlie is like, wow, that's really beautiful. And then they have this moment in the tree where they're both like embracing being queer, which is very
mhm,
sweet.
mm,
Um,
yeah.
which is, I mean, it is poetic because you are reading a poem about being holy and you're saying it's not for me, and then you go and do that action. When you say that to Philip, he immediately shuts this down and he's like, "Eh," he's, I mean, I
Mm,
guess he's kind of Lily's. He's just like,
He wants to be Lily's.
Wants to be Lily's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, we should touch on how this is a true story. So at the very end of the film, it says some stuff about like how this is based off true events. Um,
It's a true event, but not a true story.
yeah, so the story itself is not true, but the events that happened in it is true. And it happened to many people. But throughout the film, when first watching it, you had no idea, because it was mentioned at the end.
Yeah.
And I think the entire first watch, I was like, oh wow, this is like made up, like somebody came up with this. I had no idea this actually happened. And it was pretty shocking to be like, oh, this actually happened.
I think that is something that's so big, especially as queer individuals, is that like there's so much history and so much like brutal history behind being queer, and it's never really talked about because obviously in your K through 12 people aren't going to talk about this,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
only if you take a college class and you actually like really dive into it that you can learn, I guess, or if you're reading
Mhm.
in your own time. Um, but it is, I mean, I feel like for the time period, people were doing absurd medical practices to the point where it's just so crazy. Like it's so
Mhm.
cruel.
Well, because World War II was really the like big time where all of these surgeries started happening, just in the entire queer world.
Yeah.
But this was before that. This was 1920?
It was also in 1920s. I
Yeah,
don't,
so World War II had not even thought of becoming a thing yet.
but
So it's quite before its time.
a lot of people, I think, had these thoughts about queer people and about a lot of minorities, though. I think
Yeah.
World War II, where it's just like during World War II, things were just heightened,
Hmm.
which is awful. But I mean, it was still there, and it's still so. This is just what's written down. We didn't even get. There's no recorded number of how many people had this surgery done on, but I've
Yeah.
lost. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
This this film just I wrote that it scared me and scarred me. Yeah. On a more uplifting note, I wanted to mention somebody on Letterboxd wrote a review saying most harrowing fruit shot since Call Me by Your Name. I thought that was hilarious. Um, I mean, it was a pretty scary fruit shot there for a second.
it was it was kind of cra I like really wonder how they did that because that was like really well done.
Yeah.
That
I
was also
don't know what it is about fruit. Like what's going on, guys?
fruit representation. That's so crazy.
That's crazy.
That's so crazy.
You talked about mirroring already. Do you want to touch more on that?
Um, yes, if that's okay.
Hmm.
I think there's the poem scene. We also get the scene by like the lambs and the sheep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very big because we see Owen and Philip playing in the field with the sheep. They're just like running around with them. They're being very sweet. It's a very short scene. The next sheep scene we get is after Philip decides to take into action doing a medical procedure on Charlie.
Yeah.
And he puts his, we don't see him kill the sheep, but he puts his medical bag down by the sheep and
Mm-hmm.
fruity music while that's happening. and then Charlie ultimately he dies.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was just really, really sad.
There's also the scene with Philip, like I think they were just showering and Owen's looking through the window. And then there's that same scene with Owen looking through the window at Charlie.
And that
That
time
was,
he looks
yeah.
back and Charlie says
Hmm.
hi, but Philip doesn't do that. He just keeps showering. Like
Yeah.
I mean he could have felt presence, but he didn't look back.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think that says a lot about what they were trying to communicate. I did really like that they were mirroring those scenes.
Yeah. They showed Owen being happy with someone that isn't like embracing who they are, and then Owen being with someone who fully embraces who they are.
How do we feel about Philip's actions and just
Hmm.
like his character in general?
I think putting it in perspective with the time period, um, yes, he did some horrible things. Yeah, he did get away with two murders, and ultimately probably way more. But I think I think there's just a part of like this happens quite often, so it doesn't faze me maybe as much as if it wasn't as common.
What do you mean
Um,
what is happening quite often?
there's all the societal pressure and they're giving into it.
Okay.
And I mean, like, there's plenty of conversion therapy. Not as much right now. There was a lot throughout the 1900s.
Yeah. The 20th century was very big on it.
Mhm. So even though it's a different type of conversion, um, I think putting it in perspective of when it happened, I don't think he's a horrible person. I think he was just following something that we know now is flaw.
I do think it's definitely that. I don't think he's the most evil person in the world.
Yeah.
Because, you know what, like Philip is also queer and he has so much hate for
Mhm.
himself. We see him self-harming. He's like clutching his fist and you can see the fist marks and the bleeding on his fist. Like he hates himself so much. He's definitely falling into that societal pressure of, you know, this is wrong. Like we're ill. We need to change. But then again, I think he is also very, very flawed in the way that he reacts to
Mhm.
someone else who he loves, right?
Yeah.
Queer. Because, you know,
It's hard though because he believes he's doing the right thing. And I think that's with anyone. A lot of these scenarios that people think they're doing the right thing, so to them it's not evil. But for us seeing it, it's evil.
but it feels especially evil because it's almost selfish in his action that when, you know, like when he was getting the surgery done on himself, he was willing to sacrifice another guy, an innocent man. He was saying, like, Owen literally said, I don't want to do this. He's clearly uncomfortable and he loves Philip. This
Mm,
is your lover and you're making him not love you anymore, not love you anymore.
mm,
And he said, the scalpel is sterilized. Like, it's time to just like do it. You can't go back. You just have to do it for my sake.
mm,
Feels so just unempathetic to someone you love. And I think
mm.
that hurts a lot because it's like you're willing to inflict so much trauma on someone for your own sake.
Yeah.
And just because Owen didn't want to do it, now you think it's your choice to also, because he's jealous,
Mm,
obviously. in that scenario, he thinks it's fine to just do it to Charlie and to rip that away
He
from
does,
Owen.
at least from what we saw, he does ask Charlie if Charlie wants to do it. For that
Gosh,
one. For Philip doing the surgery to Owen, Owen had no choice.
Owen didn't have a choice, no.
Yeah. We don't hear what Charlie's response is, so we don't know if he was like, yeah, let's do this, or if he was like, no, and Philip went against that. So it's kind of unclear. Because if Charlie said, yes, let's do it, then I think it would be a different scenario. Do we want to talk about the end scene? Um, it's very short, but it is really well constructed. The
Yeah.
entire beginning of the film, most of the film, is kind of neutral colors, which goes with the like period piece, but the end is very colorful. The music is more lively. Um, I don't know, I think it just contrasted the whole thing very nicely, but it also left the film more open-ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's always good. I
Hmm.
think in a lot of the films we've had, they do have abrupt endings as well.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. The end scene is the brightest scene we get, but also I think we're also very bright when they're at the cottage
Yeah.
or house that Owen lives in. Like when they share those moments, it does get a lot more muted when things start escalating.
Hmm.
So I think that kind of composition is really, really nice throughout the film. The ending, though, is just like, because how many seconds do we get of that, of the flowers and everything happening on the screen? I feel like it's like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's not very long. I think the end scene itself is only a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just quite beautiful. I don't know if most of that was like CGI or if a lot of it was actual material. That would be interesting.
I feel like it could definitely be a mix
Yeah.
because it did feel very like real and authentic.
Yeah.
Again, I a lot of it would need CGI, like
Yeah.
the cuts turning into grass.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, what do we think it means, like it entails?
I mean, I think it ties into the quote of like writing your own ending and like even though the ending is so scary, it doesn't have to be shed in a scary light. Um, I don't know, it was just like again just open for interpretation.
It was definitely ambiguous, and
Yeah.
it definitely oh definitely it's to the quote because he says it right before the ending happens. I think that it's it feels very nice because it's like, you know, it's also very scary. He's having this medical procedure done on himself. He's horrified. This is probably the worst point of his life,
Yeah.
right? But it's beautiful in the sense that he's like I'm still queer.
Hmm.
And all this stuff is happening. Like the fruit is in his mouth. All of the flowers are growing around him. Him getting having a surgery that's taking something away isn't actually taking away. It's still
Mhm.
there. It's
Yeah.
blossom. He's always going to be queer and that's not stopping.
Mhm. For overall rating of the film, it was close to a 9 out of 10, but I'm gonna have to say 8.5. The film was kind of short. It wasn't released in like big media. It even though it's a 2024 film, it was kind of like kept to itself. Yet it's a really beautiful film. I think more people should see it. Um, I always critique films heavily, so 8.5 is still pretty darn good. It was just beautiful. So,
I will say though, like I feel like it being released to big theaters shouldn't take points off because that costs a lot of money that like people don't have. I feel
yeah,
like
but these are big name actors.
I know, but like
So,
you get because already a lot of queer films don't get released to theaters.
but I think if they get released to theaters, then we'll have more representation for people that maybe wouldn't have seen this representation.
But does that disrupt like the
I
film?
don't think it degrades the film itself. I think it degrades how the people released it.
I just feel like it's hard to convince people who are like, because to be like not even just worldwide, just like wherever you are to get it to theaters is already kind of
I
rough.
think less getting it to theaters, more getting it on platforms like Netflix, Hulu, all of those.
Yeah, for sure. In that sense, I think like online
It's a
platform,
2024 film.
like it's very doable to get on an online platform for streaming.
Mhm. I think they could have just gotten it to Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime.
But then again, the director, they it has big name actors, but the director, this is the only film that got super big. All of their other films are very small.
Yeah,
So I don't know what their budget was.
yeah.
Hopefully, he makes more films.
Mhm. Our favorite songs in the film? The entire film is composed by Theodosia Roussos or something like that. Sorry, probably mispronounced it. Um, and all of this is done by an instrumental orchestra. It produced very eerie and whimsical music, which just made the entire film even more amazing. I would say I'm a true believer that the best films have the best soundtracks. So, my favorite song, probably, I'm gonna name a few, but Philip was really good. Love Sours Turns to Flowers, really beautiful. Um, just the entire music was really simple, yet it was super striking, very patterned. It was just really good and well performed. Um, little, what was that called? Honorable mention? A few honorable mentions, Dorothy's letter, and also the ending. I think the song is just called Ending, is amazing. They all flow amazing with the film. I wrote, and flows with the film like butter.
Perfect.
So, all great things to say about the soundtrack.
It's so good.
It's
It's so good.
great.
Um, my favorite songs, I also named a couple. I said the song Lily's Not For Me, Philip, Ward, and then Dorothy's Letter. They all feel very enchanting at first listen, and I feel like they're very soft and dreary, and then they occasionally get super broody, which I love. There are definitely songs, and we talked about this. There are songs that we could just like listen day to day, like just like put in our playlist and listen to it. Um, yeah, the soundtrack is very, very lovely. There's no like real words to describe how like the feeling it invokes is just so special. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Time for our favorite movie of the week.
So these are unrelated films that we just want to shout out.
Mhm.
I want to shout out Rivere, which is Breakaway in English. It's a 2023 film. Amazing. And then also another film called Allure. This is a 2017 film. Both are lesbian films, both amazing. Big shout out.
Big shout out.
Big shout out.
Big shout out. Okay. I didn't have movies because unfortunately I haven't been watching a lot of movies recently. Um, I put two series. I I started watching Breaking Bad, which came out in 2008. I'm on season one. Very good. I'm entertained. And I'm also watching Twin Peaks by David Lynch, and that came out in 1990. That one's also it feels very fall.
Mhm.
So 10 out of 10.
There are some LGBTQIA plus resources in the description. Check those out. I'll put a screen at the end with all of them and all of their numbers. Check those.